Hey folks, Leave it here once again, folks. Welcome back to another video, guys. Just wearing my YouTube shirt. Sorry, it's a little torn up here. Oh, I have it on. But anyway, welcome back to another video, guys. I'm sorry, guys, for the lack of videos. It hasn't been too bad. It's been, what, 6 days or 9 days since I did a review. Hope you enjoyed my review of Batman Doom Became a Gotham. Hope you enjoyed the scene I did from X-Men closeout scene. Because a few days ago, X-Men turned, the first X-Men film from 2000 turned 25. And I did a scene from that, so, yeah. You'll see more different videos like that on this channel sometimes. Not just scenes from movies, but different kind of videos as well that I love to do here on the channel. I always love to do different kind of videos on my channel. Can be on my phone too sometimes. Guys, like I said, for the last video, it was Batman Doom Came to Gotham. And as you guys have been watching on my channel, guys, thank you for the 309 subs. I appreciate it, guys. And I'm sorry again for the lack of videos. I apologize. I just been really busy with work. Work has been crazy. At FedEx, it's been crazy. It's been back to school time. It's been busy. It's been real chaotic at work. It's been crazy. Yeah, yesterday was almost nuts, but we got it done at a good time around pretty early. So had to go to work like 2:45 yesterday. Yeah, no, it's 3:30. Well, tomorrow's 3:30, but yeah, it was 2:45 this week. So had to get up early like at 12 a.m. to go to work. So yeah, and then tomorrow I got to go again at 3:30. Yeah, but anyway, guys, um, what I've been doing, guys, on my channel here is a superhero marathon. What I've been doing is called the 2020 Eras of Superhero Reviews. These are superhero films that came out in this decade we're living in now, 2020 to right now, 2025. I know we don't got much left. We're almost July's almost over. We're almost into August. So we got one more week of July here. Yeah, we do almost, well, this week and next week. I think next week is the last week of July. Got like, what, 5 months? Yeah, 5 months. Can you believe it? It's just going by like that. It goes by like that, doesn't it? But again, I'm not done with these superhero movies. I'm still gonna talk about superhero shows and stuff as well. So, and maybe some 2020 movies as well still that came out this year. But when I might get there, we're still in the year 2023. I've only read 3 movies so far. Legion of Superhero, no, 4 movies, excuse me. It was Legion of Superheroes, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Um, yeah, Legion of Superheroes, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which I really enjoyed. Um, despite some issues with Ant-Man, but yeah. And then it was Shazam! Fury of the Gods. And then the most recent last one was Batman 2 Became Gotham. Now, this movie came out, this is a two-part movie, but I'm only going to, part one came out on my brother's birthday. This was April 25th. These are direct-to-video animated these are DC animated movies. And for the first part, it's a weird title. To me, it's a weird title. That is Justice League X RBY Superheroes and Huntsmen Part 1. Weird title to me, but this is my next review. I do not care for this movie. Now, this is not going to be a rant, but I didn't care for this film personally. This is just me. I did not care for this movie. This was kind of boring, I thought, actually. I was not very invested in it, but I'll get into why. But this was meh. This was okay. I couldn't get into this. This just wasn't my cup of tea. I'm sorry. This isn't a rant. Again, this isn't a rant. I didn't hate this movie. But this is a two-part direct-to-video animated superhero crossover fantasy film. And, it's like anime, basically. I'm not really a big fan of anime. Now, the animation I thought in this movie was good, but I'm not really a big anime fan. Unless it comes to maybe like Pokemon or something, I'll like that. But, as I watched Pokemon a few times when I was a kid and I played with the cards and stuff, so, yeah. This is listed based on a limited crossover comic book series, which I never read. RBY Justice League, DC RBY, written by Margaret Bennett. A co-production of Rooster Teeth Productions, DC Entertainment. So for the production, the film was announced at RTX 2022 with a release date around 2023. Around February 2023, trailer was released and revealed the title, cast, and release date, and that it will be a two-part film, like Batman Long Halloween, which was part one, part two. I like those movies a lot better than this, but that's just me. February 2nd, 2023, James Gunn confirmed that all DC animated projects are being released as part of DC Elseworlds. And sometimes it's interesting they when they do that. This film did get positive reviews from critics. I don't really get all the positivity. Yeah. But anyway, let's get to the voice cast, shall we? Uh, Chandler Riggs, part one, voices Clark Kent, Superman. He was decent. He was like in The Walking Dead, which I think The Walking Dead is overrated, but that's just me. That's just too overhyped, in my opinion. Yeah. And then Bruce Wayne Batman is voiced by, in part one, he's voiced by Nate Wolff, who did alright. He was movies like Behaving Badly, A Mission, Paper Towns, The Fault in Our Stars, Death Note, Weekend, Rosie, Mortal, which I've never seen. And Natalie Lind, she was Diana Prince, Wonder Woman. Let's see. Beautiful actress, by the way. She did a good job. I think she was in. Let's see. I think. Oh yeah, she was in Gotham. Silver St. Cloud. She was real good in that. In season 2 of Gotham, 7 episodes of that. I remember her in that. Yeah, she's a very cute woman though. She did good in here, I thought. But I just remember her as Gotham as Silver St. Cloud, working with Theo Galavan, trying to seduce Bruce Wayne, something like that. And then Trevor Valentine voices Victor Stone, Cyborg, I guess in all parts. He did good. I guess in part two as well. Oh, Beavis and Butthead, Do the Universe. Oh, that's a movie. I didn't know. Okay, never seen it. And Ruby Rose. Oh, Lindsay Jones voices Ruby Rose. Uh, just looking to the cast. Carl Eppley, Kara Eppley as the voice of Wheeze, and Andres Zick. Sorry, I can't say his name right. Blake Belladonna Blake. I say Blake. Never seen her anything, but she does some voice work too. Barbara Ducklin as Yang Exo Long. Oh, she's cute. Haven't seen her anything though. David Ayrton Jr. in part one voices the Flash. Jessica Cruz, Green Lantern, is voiced by Jeannie Trito. I guess in both parts. I can't think of anything I've seen her in animation or live action wise. I don't. Yeah. Well, she's done voice for a lot of animated stuff, so I don't know too much about this cast. The only one I know about is Shiver St. Cloud, the woman that Natalie Lynn that voices her. I guess you said a younger version, because in this the Justice League they're kids. Margaret McBig as Osmi Acne as Vixen. But that did all right. You know, she was in Runaways, Marvel's Runaways, which I've never seen. Our What If series did the voice for that. Miles Lunan does the voice. Samantha Ireland, Nathan On, Shannon Rook voices the professor. He does some voice work too, animation and video games too. Aaron Dismock, I guess is a voice cast that's a lot like for animated stuff, movies and TV shows. Just people that have done, worked in animation and stuff before. We're not going to talk about part two because we're not on that yet. Jason Douglas voices, does a voice. He's in Sin City, Parkland, Two Step, No Country for Old Men, Tara Platt. She's done some voice work too. Don't know too much about the cast. Not going to talk about anybody in part two right now since we're only discussing part one. And these parts were directed by, I guess, part one and part two were directed by Terry Shawcross and Destin Matthews and Yasha Bolda. Written by Megan Fespis. Produced by Kimberly S. Murray, Ethan Spalding, Jim Quirk. Music is by David Lee. Distributed by Warner Brothers Entertainment. Part 1 was released directed video. Remember, these directed video. On April 25th, 2023. That's my brother's birthday, April 25th. The first part premiered at WonderCon in March, and then released a month later on April 25th on Blu-ray and DVD. Part 2 was released in October, so it'll be a while before we get to that one. But with the story of the movie, if you've never seen this movie, I've never seen Part 2, but I do have Part 2 and probably won't run for long, but they'll keep it because I'm going to review it. So, anyway, the film centers several members of the Justice League. That is Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, and Cyborg and the Flash, and Green Lantern, Jessica Cruz. They turn to teenagers. They teleport to Remnant. It's a DC Elseworlds kind of story. They team up with the team RWBY who defeat a superpowered Grim and a group of supervillains, including the old enemy of RWBY. So they have to defeat them. They have to figure out what's going on. They have to figure out how they got here. Yeah, that's the plot for you in a nutshell. But this part one is 83 minutes long. It's only 1 hour and 19 minutes long. Part one was. They also have to uncover why their planet has been mysteriously altered and why they're here. Apparently, they're fighting a monster. They don't know who they forget is fighting. They have these flashes, and they have to find out what's happening. So again, if you've never seen Justice League XRBY or an XRY or I know Superheroes and Huntsmen Part One, if you've never seen any of these Part One or Part Two, don't watch this review. I haven't seen Part Two, so don't tell me nothing about it, okay? But if you haven't seen Part One, don't watch this review. I'm gonna talk about this movie if I can. Like I said, this movie just was not for me, but I'll get into the reasons why. But I'm gonna talk about the movie itself the best way I can. Again, my first time watching this movie. Yeah. So again, just because I wasn't into this movie doesn't mean if you liked it, that's fine. If you guys, anybody out there watches this video, if you love this movie, that's these movies, that's fine. I can't say how I feel about part two though. I just cannot care about part one. But if you did like this movie, good for you. That's cool. I mean, I'm not here to change your opinion. This is just my video, my opinion, my perspective. My point of view from watching this movie. So anyway, the story pretty much opens up with Superman waking up. He's like a young teenager. Doesn't really have all those powers. You know, he has no memory. He's like, well, where am I? Superman wakes up. Where am I? It shows you in the trailer as well. He meets Ruby and Yang, who are fighting a horde of they call Griffin. These monsters, they're like flying monsters almost, and they're fighting them. And the action here is pretty decent. Superman's trying to go for him, but they knock him out, and he uses heat vision. They defeat them eventually, and he's like, "I'm Superman," but my real name's Clark. And they make fun of him, which I don't know why they make fun of Superman. I mean, again, kids do, but Superman and Batman's cool names. Come on. I haven't seen the new Superman movie. Haven't really been interested, to be honest. And I'm not gonna get into that discussion. And these Grims they absorb dust and they shoot lasers. Superman does have his laser vision. Again, he's a teenager. He's shooting his laser vision out, which is pretty cool. So he's useless in shade areas. The sun gives Superman his powers because he's from the planet Krypton. We know the backstory. I'm not gonna get into all that, but the sun's not really giving him his powers, and when he's in shade areas, he doesn't really have his powers, which is weird. I think I'm like Superman should still be able to get his powers when he's outside in the sun. So he's only powerful when he fights in direct sunlight, which is kind of weird. But again, this is an Elseworld kind of world, so I'm not gonna complain too much about it. They say, they ask Clark, they call him Clark, just Clark. He remembers fighting with his team, Justice League, and can't really remember, just flashes. Hmm. Then the three decided to go. They decided to go to the Beacon Academy to ask Osman for the events happening. And then in Migraine, you have characters like it's these two characters I forget. One's name is Blake. She's a girl that's taking a break from the academy. Then she encounters this intruder that is, of course, Diana, Wonder Woman. tells them who she is, and Diana tells them that she's a princess from another world. She doesn't know. Wonder Woman doesn't know how she. Diana doesn't know she got to Remnant. She doesn't understand the past. Well, she has the flashes too that her and her team, the Justice League, were fighting. Remember, she knows she's an adult. They're just teenagers in this world. I guess because in this world, the Salesforce Remnant, the superheroes are different. Well, they're basically just teenagers. Hmm. So they decide to take Wonder Woman to Beacon Academy as also to get help. Yeah, this character named Weeze, who I like, she's got like this sword kind of powers. Uh, she sees like this bat suit, which then she meets Bruce Wayne, and Bruce Wayne's accused of stealing that. Bruce gets accused of stealing. He steals this equipment that he needs, this piece of equipment. He also has memories though, and Bruce is like, oh, I'm sorry. Bruce can be a bit of a smart. He's kind of like he's acting like Dick Grayson a little bit. Sorry, he's acting like Dick Grayson a little bit. They kind of fight, and this universe, which I did like on it, Batman does have powers. He's got like a bat radar sense. He's got bat wings, literally bat wings. They come out of his bat. He flies a bit. He fights with these guys. Weasel ends up knocking him out, but later she comes to Bruce wanting answers, and he had a feeling that he did so. He's able to use the radar of his eyes, like coming with his eyes, to get out of there. He's like, okay, well, take me to Beacon Academy. Let's find out what's going on here. I thought the little fight was decent. Weasel also has memories as well. At first, Bruce, of course, Batman has the powers, but here he does. When he's trying to fly, he crashes a few times. You know. Then you have Ruby Yang and Superman. They reunite with Blake and Wonder Woman. You know, Superman and Wonder Woman give each other a hug and says, "Clark, I'm sorry. I'm glad to see you again." Like, how did we end up here? Wonder Woman begins to remember though a bit for the Revenant. They were fighting this giant robot, and all of a sudden it's like, bang! They ended up here. Sorry that I'm reading off my phone, but I'm watching this movie. Yeah. Plus, I kind of fell asleep through it, probably on purpose because I couldn't get into this movie. I also thought it was kind of boring in parts too. Yeah. But Ruby and Blake, they remember the timeline. Being Academy was supposed to be destroyed. They encounter Uzman. He's basically, you find out he's dead, and he was reincarnated as a kid. Wonder Woman tries to question him, but they realize they can trust him. It's just a glitch. But they follow him to this place. Ruby sees this small green glow on the dark disk that is a Green Lantern ring. Meanwhile, though, you have June, Nora, Ren, remaining Justice League, that is Green Lantern, Flash, Vixen, and Cyborg. They have Electra class, and they don't remember either. But these kids don't get along. They're teenagers. They're wise asses basically. They fight with each other. Flash is able to run fast and knock some of them down. Flash is able to knock some of them down. But this one girl, she like hits some of her staff or whatever, knocks Flash out. They're practicing the battle though, and then their friends and allies come to see them. The RWBY team and Justice League come to see them, and they're trying. Vixen doesn't really have her power. She's also got a foxtail, by the way. She doesn't have her necklace, which gives her, powers of an animal. And Jessica does not have her ring, the Green Lantern ring. Therefore, she doesn't have her abilities. And there's no reason Batman, but you have reason Batman. They're trying to Batman, of course, knowing Batman is trying to investigate what's going on. They go up against the grim creatures again. Uh, we tries to attack them with a sword, but Batman's like, no, don't do it, don't do it. They can absorb it. You also find out they can absorb energy as well, making them more stronger. Her and Batman are able to get out of there eventually, though. All the Justice League have same memory problems as well. Try to figure out who the mastermind is. If the villain's like Brainiac or Vandal Savage, and Flash says it might be Killerborg, who wants to destroy the world and destroy the Justice League. So RWBY and Justice League, they gotta work together. They don't get along, of course, and they don't like Superman. The RWBY knows like, well, you're not our leader. You don't tell us what to do. Kids, you should trust Superman. He's an adult. He's been leading a team, since you've probably been in diapers. So I think Superman knows what he's doing. You know, but they can't all go to do this, so they have to split up. You know, of course, Wonder Woman, they realize now that Batman's missing. Of course, Batman's been missing this whole point. But of course, I'll give the RBY this though. The RBY team this though, because Justice League doesn't have experience though in their world or the Grims like they do. They argue with each other. Superman has to stop them. They split up into groups. Wonder Woman, Blake, and Yang. They have to go find Weezum, Batman, and Atlantis. And the rest of the group exterminates Grims. Green Lantern, we gotta go find her power ring, so this guy volunteers to go with her. They're trying to look for her ring, and she can't really do the computer without the ring. You know. They also find out that they're in a fantasy world that Revenant is not a group. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. I may not be sure, so make sure I'm reading this right. Yeah. You also find out the Grims are not real. Batman does at least. Sorry to go over this review. Again, first time watching this movie, sue me. Batman and Louise still are able to escape from the Grims. Well, they realize that this world is false. You know, Louise says to Batman, you're really good here. You could probably stay here. And Batman kind of maybe considers it. But they have to investigate what's going on and why this is a false world and why they're here, why all this is happening. Yeah. Cyborg and Nora, this girl named Nora, they start to get along, maybe start to like each other. This Ring character becomes jealous, blah blah blah. I didn't really care too much about that. And then Superman has to stop in. And then Ruby, who I don't think is a real good leader, argues with Superman. Superman's like, sometimes you just can't have a minute. Yeah. And Superman's like tells her, "I have experience," while they're fighting like Grims or whatever. But Jessica and the church Jane, John, whatever, just helping Jessica Cruz trying to find a ring. They realize the world is an illusion. They get attacked by this woman, this lady that, well, I guess that was Jim's girlfriend or whatever. She can't find it, but she like picks up his shield and hits her. If she like traps him in a door or something like that. Again, where was it? Oh yeah. Anyway, long story short, when we get to it, so they fight. They're supposed to have over the Grims. Like I said, Ruby doesn't know how to run the team. Superman's trying to tell her, how to do this right. But as they're fighting each other, well, the fight's going on. Eventually, just as they would get her ring back, they have a fight. Then Batman shows up, and Superman's like, "Wow, you got powers, man." Like, "Yeah, I do." And they're able to find out that, spoiler alert, the Flash is Kilgore, who is taking control of him, so they have to fight him. Eventually, they defeat him and get Barry Allen back. Barry's still there, but like in his subconscious, they able to defeat him. And the Justice League, they along with the RWBY, they defeat the Grims and they save the day. They save their world and they head back to their world and say goodbye, offer farewell to them heading back to their world. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So again, the Justice League, they help the RWBY, defeat the Grims and save their world. And of course, at the end, like I said, bid farewell, and they go back to their world. And then the movie ends there, and then we get into part two. And that's Justice League RWBY, Superheroes and Huntsmen Part 1. Let me get my final thoughts on this movie. Sorry if I missed some stuff, guys. I'm not reading the quotes. Like I said, I wasn't really into this movie, but that's just me. Sorry. I'll get to why. Alright. Like I said, I didn't care for this movie too much. Now I didn't really like it that much either. I just didn't care for this film. This wasn't for me. I thought this was boring, to be honest. Now this isn't a rant because I'm not angry. It didn't piss me off. Again, I can appreciate DC trying to. I do like the poster here. Like DC does a good job also with the posters, and I like three things I like about the movie. I think the voice cast, especially the girl that voices Wonder Woman in this part, uh, Natalie Lynn Allen as the voice of Wonder Woman. She was the best part about it. She did a good job. Like I said, I liked her in Gotham. She's very cute in real life. She did a good job in here, I thought. And the rest of the cast was pretty decent. Nothing special. Music score I didn't care for. The writing and the story, I just didn't care for the story. I just wasn't invested in the story. I didn't care about the RBY characters. These teenagers I thought were annoying and obnoxious, and I just didn't care about the RBY team. And that's a pretty lame name anyway, or whatever they're called. Didn't care about the world of Ribnet too much. And again, the animation is good, but I'm just not into anime. It's like everyone feels like anime too. I'm not really into it. Animation was fine, but I've seen better, and there's a lot of other DC animated movies that have better animation than this. Even Batman and Superman, the Battle of the Super Sons. I think CGI animation was a lot better. I think that film had a better story. That was more entertaining to watch. This I just didn't care for too much. I mean, I didn't mind seeing the Justice League as teenagers. I know there was an episode of Justice League Unlimited where you saw them as kids, in that episode, but this I didn't care about. But I do, and I also like Batman in here. The voice actor did fine, but I like that Batman had powers. I like that he had like a bat radar sense, that he had wings, you know, that he could fly, and that like it was cool that Batman had some powers, and you can see that Superman had to use like a hammer, that he couldn't really use much of his powers, and Wonder Woman couldn't really use her lasso, or really fly without her braces, you know, which is fine. But these characters, when they're arguing, is kind of annoying to listen to, and the story just didn't interest me. Like I said, I like Batman in here. Batman having powers and stuff and investigating. Of course, Batman's a little bit detective, so yeah, you get that in here. And some of the action is pretty decent. The animation is good. I'm just not really. This doesn't. It's like anime, and I'm just not really into anime. It's really never been. The running time, at least the film is 83 minutes long. It's 1 hour and 19 minutes long. It does go by at a good pace. That's what I'll say. The pacing is good. Now, the negative is the voice cast is alright. The rest of the voice cast is okay. Superman, okay. Some of the voice casting here is okay. I didn't care for the RWBY characters. I mean, Louise' character on the story, she was pretty interesting. But I didn't care for these characters at all. A lot of the movie is boring, and story was not very interesting to me. I was not invested into the story. Like I said, DC used a lot of story, but here they didn't, in my opinion. I just didn't care. I don't care if it's based on the book. I don't care to read the comic. And I don't really even care to watch this movie again, to be honest. Something honestly I would never want to watch again. I mean, I can name a lot of whole DC animated movies. Well, I mean, I would say it's disappointing, like Son of Batman or Batman Hush. Batman versus Robin, yeah, I would call that a disappointment as well. I probably didn't then, but now I probably would. Well, it's slightly better than Son of Batman, but still I find that disappointing as well. Maybe because I just don't like Damian and the story in those movies. Batman Bad Blood I liked though. I didn't like Batwoman in it. But yeah, some of the DC movies are like Superman, All Star Superman. I didn't care for that movie. You know, I can name a few DC animated movies I didn't love, and it just wasn't the only one I was disappointed with. Again, watch my all my DC reviews. Playlist, and you'll see DC films I don't like, even live action either. But there's some animated ones I don't like either, and this is one of those DC animated movies that I just didn't care for. I don't care that it's based off something else. If James Gunn's working on these, I'm like this. If James Gunn has anything to do with this, working on this project, working on this film, then the way he's doing it, I'm like, it makes me not interested in seeing the new Superman movie. To be honest, I really have no interest in seeing that Superman movie. And I know it's not because, oh my God, I know people are arguing that Man of Steel. I like Man of Steel, but I'm not a Zack Snyder fanboy. Don't call me that. I'm a Richard Donner fanboy. To me, Superman the movie, Superman 2, Superman 3, I started changing conversation. Those are Superman movies I'd rather watch. You know, and Man of Steel. But if I had to pick, I'd watch those three movies over it. You know, I don't like the Donner cut. I think that's overrated. But especially Superman the movie, let's argue that instead. People forget Superman the movie with Christopher Reeve. That's still, in my opinion, that's still the best Superman movie ever. But anyway, but James Gunn's involved in this. So I'm like, then just make it more interesting. I know it's DC has done a lot of Elseworld stories, I'm sure, but this one I just didn't care for. I couldn't get into this movie. Sorry, folks. It's just my opinion, guys. It's just my opinion. I didn't care for this. You know, and some of the action was decent. There's some things I liked, like the voice actress for Wonder Woman. She was real good. Because I like that actress. She was, like I said, in Gotham, Silver St. Cloud. Very cute girl. But she did a good job. And this is the voice cast was decent. This direction and writing, they're one of the strongest. They're pretty weak in here. I thought this film had a weak story. That's all I can say about it. But anyway, guys, yeah, I don't know how I feel about part two, but part two won't be till October, so we got a little while. So anyway, my rating for Justice League RWBY Superhero Huntsman's Part One, I'm gonna give it a thumbs down. And my rating for this film, I'm gonna give it 2 out of 5 stars. Not because I'm saying it's terrible, it's just because I didn't like this movie. I didn't care for it. This was very bland and uninteresting. Just the story I didn't care for, and I didn't care much about the characters either. Even some of the Justice League I didn't care too much about. Yeah, I just didn't care what they went with it. And anime stuff, anime movies, I'm just not into. You know, but I did like some things about this movie. That's why I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. So again, my rating for Justice League RWBY Superhero No Huntsman in Part One is a thumbs down. My rating for the film once again is 2 out of 5 stars. Not awful, just not interesting of a movie. It's just very forgettable in my opinion. Just didn't care for it. But anyway, guys, if you've seen these parts, so if you've seen Justice League XRBY Superhero Husband Part 1, if you got the movie and you like this, tell me what you think of Part 2, by the way. And also, what do you think of it in your opinion? Have you read the comic book series off of it? Um, and what are some of your favorite DC animated movies? But again, if you like this movie, you disagree with me, that's fine. This is just my review, my opinion. You know, I'm not saying that this is the opinion. No, it's just my opinion, my perspective on the movie. That's all my opinion, guys. Don't ever take anything I personally say about the movie. But first of all, I want to say I didn't hate this film. I didn't think it was trash. I'm not mad. This is not a rant. You didn't see me ranting and raving, getting mad, did you? No, you didn't see that. It's not a rant. Uh, but anyway, I just gave my thoughts on it. So again, my rating for the film is a thumbs down, and my rating for this film once again is 2 out of 5 stars. And there were spoilers in this review. I'll put that in the description box below, and my rating for it as well. So guys, stay tuned for the next review. The next 2023 superhero review. Let me. Okay, this. Let's see. Well, speaking of James Gunn, this film is directed by James Gunn. No, it's not Superman. But oh, damn it. This is the third film in this trilogy. It's a sequel to Guardians of the Galaxy and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. This is the 32nd film in the MCU, and this came out in May. Starring Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, David Bautista, Karen Gillan, Tom Colicchio, Vin Diesel, Bradley Cooper, and Sean Gunn, and Sylvester Stallone, Nathan Fillion. That is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Yes, this will be the next review. Now I have to work the next 3 days, so I'm thinking Saturday I'm going to be reviewing this Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So stay tuned for this, guys, to hear more of my thoughts. Fucking door. Anyway, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, 32nd movie, the 32nd film in the MCU, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So stay tuned for this, guys. This will be next. So Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 will be next. So stay tuned for that, guys. Alright. So stay tuned for that. Tell me once again what you think of Just League XRBY Part 1, Superhero Husband Part 1. That was irritating to me, too. Tell me what you think about the movie. Do you disagree with me? And what are some of your favorite DC animated movies? And have you seen Part 2? What do you think of them, the Just League RWBY movies, Superhero Huntsman movies? In your opinion, if you've seen both parts. And if you like them, that's cool. I can't say what I think about Part 2 yet until I get there. But like I said, I go by years and months. Remember, in the year 2023, Part 1 was April. This film came out in May. So this is next. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And I think it'll be another sequel, let's see, after this. I guess I'm going to tell you the next 2023 reviews. Fuck, sure, not moving. Okay, June will be Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which is also a sequel to Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse. The Flash, which will probably be a rant. July, Justice League World. And then August, this is probably a rant too, Teenage Mutant Turtles Mutant Mayhem. And August was Blue Beetle as well. And then, of course, Justice League RWBY, Superhero Huntsman Part 2. And then, let's see, that was October. This was November. That is The Marvels. Probably the 33rd film in the MCU, I would say. Yeah, yeah, 33rd film. And probably the last DCU movie. This one came out in December. My last 2023 review will be Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom, which is a sequel. So we got some sequels we'll be talking about too. Marvels is a sequel to Captain Marvel, and this is a sequel to the first Aquaman film that came out in 2018. So I got some more sequels coming up too, talking about. But Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom, this came out in December. Yes, I know it did because I saw this film in theaters. So Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom will be the last 2023. Then we get to the year 2024. This film came out in January. Just one I'll mention. Justice League Crisis on when we get to the year 2024, last year I mean, this came out in January. This is Justice League Crisis on Infinity Earth, Part 1. So starting with the year 2024. Alright. I'm not gonna say anymore. So stay tuned for the next review guys again, which will be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Thanks for watching, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.